This is the SF Productions Podcast Network.
The circus comes to Vegas. It's the Consumer Electronics Show.
From the Pop Culture Bunker, I'm Mindy.
And I'm Mark. You can check out our audio podcast, How I Got My Wife to Read Comics, on iTunes or on our website, sfpodcastnetwork.com.
But if you do it at iTunes, then people know about the show.
Exactly.
Okay.
So, the Consumer Electronics Show just wrapped up in Las Vegas as of this taping. We're not really doing a tech show here. We're going to concentrate more on the media.
We like tech, but we
Right.
aren't really knowledgeable except with what we buy.
Right.
Yeah.
So, a quick history of CES.
We've been to CES,
Well, technically we've been to CES. We've been more to Comdex.
but yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway.
So, the first show was in 1967. It was actually a spin-off from the Chicago Music Show. They didn't have any, there wasn't enough consumer electronics to basically merit its own show.
But music back then had its own show.
Yeah.
Does music have a show now?
No.
Okay.
In any case, it was held in New York City. We don't know why.
Well,
Yeah. So, there were 2 shows a year from 1978 to 1994. They did it in Las Vegas in the winter, and they did it in Chicago in the summer. And then, at one point, the summer show moved to different cities for a few years.
it went to
Atlanta
once.
And that was the one year that we went, and that was when it was paired up with the Comdex show.
that was a computer show that
Right.
used to be very big.
Right, and now it's gone.
Yeah.
So, in 1998, they moved to a single show in Vegas. And really, this is where new tech is introduced. In 1970, it's when they introduced the VCR. In 1981, the camcorder and a CD player. 1996, DVD. 1998 was HDTV. 2003 was Blu-ray. And it was supposedly a show, it's supposedly just for retailers, and it's supposedly closed to the public, but...
But you can get in if you really want to.
Right.
And a lot of things are introduced there that never actually make it to market.
Right.
That's the big thing that I've noticed.
Yeah. So it's really become more of a publicity magnet. The news industry covers it, mainly because it's a rather slow time on the calendar for news, especially in the tech industry. And so they have nothing else to do, and so everybody goes to CES and shows off all these products, as you said, some of which are never actually going to be seen by anybody in the market. It did compete with the Comdex show, which is no longer held.
What did Comdex stand for? Do you remember?
Well, I'm going to guess computer...
Something Expo.
Yeah, Computer Dealer Exposition.
Okay.
I believe that was what it's called. We did attend the Comdex show in '97 in Atlanta when they teamed with CES. And then I went to the 1999 show in Las Vegas. And that was really the last big Comdex.
I didn't go to that one with you?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was for work.
Well, yeah, but I might have gone.
Yeah, well, I don't think you did. So, basically, that was the last big show. Because after that, they said, oh, we're really going to concentrate more on really getting just the dealers involved.
The retailers and people who can actually promote the items to the public.
And it annoyed, unfortunately, enough of the media and enough of the dealers that it basically killed the show. So, in any case. So, every year there's a big trend at CES, and the big trend this year was Ultra HD, aka 4K video. Okay, so what is that? Well, it's essentially a new standard that involves something that is between 4 and 16 times the current resolution of highest HD today. So it's much better picture than what you're getting from regular HD.
So it'll put even more news anchors out of a job.
Right. So what's happening here really is the TV manufacturers are hurting. They got used to that big rush in sales because of HDTV. Because everybody went out when they switched the standards and got new TVs. Well, now
they had to.
Right.
Yeah.
But now we're back to the old cycle of maybe every 4 to 5 years you might buy a TV, maybe you buy a second or third, whatever. But the big rush is over with. So they're like, we've got to get these sales back up, which makes really no sense.
And you can only buy 1 or 2 big screen TVs.
Right.
I mean, you can't keep buying big screen TVs because not everybody has the room for a big screen TV.
Right.
You don't want a big screen TV in your bathroom. You want a little TV.
Right. So last year, the big push was 3D. All the TVs are pushing 3D. Well, that flopped because nobody wants to sit at home wearing glasses.
Well, it's just sort of an inconvenience.
Right. And it's expensive, and a lot of people get headaches from 3D.
And the people who want to watch 3D are those that like to go to the theater.
Yeah, so it really made no sense. And there's also a big push right now in the film industry to move to 4K. They want to get the theaters to move to it as they move to digital screening.
Does that work something like that high frame rate thing? Do you know?
It's not really related, but it's the idea that they're, again, trying to get all these theater owners as they make these huge investments. Like, okay, push them as far forward as you possibly can so they don't have to go through this again for a long time.
Yes, but then they'll just come up with something else because they're not buying the things.
Right. So the real issue here is there's virtually no content in terms of home 4K. There are literally a handful of videos on YouTube that are 4K. There are some demonstration videos, and that's about it.
Well, that's about what it was, though, when they started introducing other things.
Like HDTV.
Yeah.
It was the same thing. So Sony is this year announced a $25,000 package that include one of these 4K TVs and a hard drive with 10 movies that they upscaled from the Sony library, and with plans to produce more by this summer. How people are going to get these, the few people who would ever actually buy this, who knows, because you can't possibly download it because it would blow out your internet connection, assuming you didn't already have a data cap.
Yeah, and the internet providers aren't going to like it because they don't want to see that much traffic.
Right. So essentially what they'll have to do is either send DVDs just with data fill with them, or they'll literally have to send these consumers hard drives that they'll have to plug into these things. The industry's not ready, especially not ready to switch formats again. You know, all the broadcast stations switched to new equipment. It took 60 years to get them to move from the old NTSC to the new format. People aren't ready to go buy brand new TVs. It just makes no sense.
No. I mean, there are still people who don't want to do Blu-ray.
Right. So
there are still people who are on VHS.
Right. So in any case, that was the big push this year. It really didn't work out.
So we can hardly wait to see what they do next year.
Right. Holographic. Who knows?
Well, you can check out our audio podcast, How I Got My Wife to Read Comics, on iTunes until then, and our sfpodcastnetwork.com website.
Right. From the Pop Culture Bunker, I'm Mark.
And I'm Mindy. Thanks for watching.
Bye-bye.